Hi everyone, how are you? I wanted to make this video because of the Karen Reed trial. What I've seen today was absolutely insane. As a scientist, as an athlete, and as someone who is a freak about ethics and scientific ethics and ethics in life in general, ethical work, and people who know me know that, I had to come on here and talk about what just happened in the Karen Reed trial today. The biomedical engineer from Aperture, Dr. W, I don't remember his last name, I just don't understand how a scientist, and I don't care if you're an engineer, if you're presenting scientific data in a way that it is absolutely mind-blowingly, ridiculously, literally being made as if I want it to be fitted into a narrative. So I have to squeeze and bend and turn every single possible data to fit the agenda, to fit the narrative. This is insane. And this is, as a scientist, I can tell you, this has nothing to do with science. And as someone who is a freak in ethics and taught at MIT ethics, scientific ethics and science to young students years ago, I can tell you this was absolutely not only unethical, also given the fact that this person even dared to insanely, disgustingly. Hello, Jeff. How are you? Disgustingly, we dressed and have worn John O'Keefe's identical clothing. This is absolutely insane and absolutely, I can tell you, disgusting and unethical. Let's get started. Let's talk about the scientific part here. In any way, shape, or form, if you have watched the part 1 where I talked about this neurosurgeon who talked about how he just fell backwards and his head popped open. His skull, that is, right? Not his skin, his skull. And I explained to you as a scientist, as someone who actually did research at neurosurgery department and as a brain cancer specialist and have done surgeries on some of, mice and rat brains, due to brain cancer, right? And also as an athlete, how it is impossible, this narrative, if anyone have even watched that trial, right? How in the video of the waterfall, how John O'Keefe wasn't even drunk at all, correct? He was just having one beer in his hand and just like trying to the whole night trying to drink a beer, correct? So, and in this biomedical engineer come on here and said that literally twisting and turning the data to make a narrative come possible. But the narrative doesn't even make any sense. Like, how can you, because if you think about it, you should also trust your own eyes, right? So if, for example, let's talk about that backup, right? When Karen Reed backs up on John O'Keefe's car at some 5 something a.m., I mean, you have to be blind to even see that what part of the car is being hit, right? And he made all of this fancy schmancy, this I don't know, scan of John O'Keefe's home, and then he put the data together, one picture, one scan after one scan, and one scan. And that way you will see that what happened was that, oh, the car hit somewhere in the middle. And then if, though he used the word, and he said that, which no scientist would ever say, no scientist would ever say, we did a good job in doing this. We did a good job in creating this scan, digital scan, and put the design. No, that's not a scientific talk. No real scientist would ever talk like that. No, you would, that's not the phrase a scientist would ever use, ever. I mean, I've never heard any scientist who says, we did a good job in creating this data. Like, what? Your job, I mean, that's a given. I mean, no, this is, you would never, I mean, if you publish a scientific article, you would never, ever even train to even say that. It doesn't even come to your mind, because in the scientific article, when you write it, you would never not only phrase it like that, but also you won't even say it like that. I mean, if you would praise the work you have done, you praise the work, not that you did a good job, but the results are excellent. We are just the way you would phrase it is that you would say, you would not even say in that's outstanding results. That this doesn't exist in scientific writing, in scientific publishing. You don't say these results are outstanding. The results are pretty good or something like that. I mean, you forget about, you never ever would praise yourself as a scientist conducting the research. You would just say the results are, you wouldn't even say remarkable results. You just say what it is. And you would not use the phrase of praising yourself, and not even in a way that it says, we did a good job. Like, this is just street level talk. No scientist talks like that. Okay, that's that. Then again, he matches these whatever scans, and he went on and on and on and on about these scans, and then it comes out as the car, Camry's car, hit the middle of the John O'Keefe's bumper in the back, right? That doesn't make any sense. So now, the particularly disgusting part, so that I already am like, what is this? Okay. And then when he talked about, before I go into the disgusting and unethical part, he also used another phrase, that a wording that I was like, what is this? He said, okie doke. Like, what? Okie doke? Who talks like that? You are there, a doctor, whatever, as a high level witness, expert witness, and you come on and do your presentation, and then you present some slides that you're not supposed to present, and they're trying to figure this out to make sure that the slides are not being shown, or whatever heck that happened over there. I think there was a little bit, some really open pictures. I'm glad I looked away. I was working, so I'm glad that for the last moment I turned now and I saw some junkies pictures which never been shown before in the camera. So I think that was about that. So they were discussing how to get some of the slides, skip some of these slides, and that he showed it, and then they want not him to show that, so want to skip over that. And then he said, okie doke. I mean, oh, what is this? Then the most disgusting part was for me the disgusting, unethical part where he was as if this was something scientific. It has nothing to do, anything to do with scientific data production of that particular experiment. It is not about the fiber of the under microscopic fiber analysis or anything like this. I don't know where he wanted to get at. I don't know if he wanted to impress the jury, to manipulate the jury, whatever the heck. I mean, people who have a little bit of brain, I mean, the only thing you could ever think about scientifically is maybe possible about the weight of the items of the clothing that could affect the outcome in any way, shape, or form, if anything. Otherwise, him wearing those exact clothes, even to the T, to the color, is absolutely disgusting, unethical, and disrespectful towards the person who was brutally killed. Brutally killed. He wasn't just killed, he was brutally killed. And then let's talk about his ridiculous way of doing his experiment. In what world would this would even considered being a considerable and reasonable scientific experiment? In what world? So you wear the identical clothing for whatever the heck it is, reasoning, the weight, that's the only way, only reason. Otherwise, what's the point of you wearing the identical colors and identical item if you don't do a microscopic or whatever, if somebody just looks at the colors, and it's like a daylight versus a blizzard, right? I mean, what is even the reasoning? Okay, forget that. And so you wear the identical clothing, identical colors, forget about the ethics, forget about the respect for the brutally murdered person, but you don't even do the identical speed. Even that, who is that person? Who was this Trooper Paul, right? Who was like the laughter, the person who everyone was laughing about. Trooper Paul, even himself, did an experiment where he put back the gear backwards and went 24 miles per hour backwards, and he had to show it in the first trial, the video. And everyone was laughing about it, and even Trooper Paul did that identical experiment. And now Aperture's doctor, biomedical engineer, does a 0.5 between 0.5 and 1 miles per hour, and maximum of then he increased to 2 miles per hour, hitting him to show that he turns and twists. What are you even talking about? Are you even doing, what are you, like, what is this? Is this a joke? This is not even a scientific experiment. So the speed and the damage is the point, the collusion, right? The damage that is being caused. So what they're trying to accomplish is he was hit by Karen Reed's car when she drove backwards with 24 miles per hour and hit him. And then he got all these injuries, and this is why he died. And you cannot even show the identical speed, the effect of the speed, only to show 2 miles per hour, 0.5 to 1 miles first, and then increasing to 2 miles, and then he just shows that he turns, like he twists and turns like that. So what do you just proved? You proved nothing. It's just a joke. This is literally manipulation to the jury. This is exactly what they're doing. They think the jury is so dumb. I cannot wait for Alessi's cross-examination. They will smash him. That's why I wanted to come on here and immediately do this video as a scientist, because it's mind-blowing to me. These law tubers also are just, I guess don't understand how science work, and how they even, I guess I see so many videos by these law tubers who are just so impressed by this neurosurgeon. If you haven't watched that video, watch it. I just literally made it last week about the neurosurgeon. This absolute nonsense he's talking about has nothing to do with anything he's talking about. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't drugged, that he suggests that he sees this all the time with drunk people. He wasn't that drunk. Watch the waterfall video. He was just a normal walking out person. Karen Reed was more drunk than him. So this is insane, guys, and that's why I labeled it as a scientist. The understanding reaction to this, because scientifically I can attest to you, this is absolute nonsense, ridiculous. So he shows that the points that he's making, and even then suggest that his arm was because of that plastic, and the plastic just hit him exactly on those points, but like somehow the plastic was like broken in so many areas, the whole arm in all of the locations, so that it scratched and deeply scratched his entire arm, that plastic, polycarbonate plastic. You got to be kidding, right? It's such a shame. Like, it's absolutely shameful that scientists, I mean, as a scientist, I'm like so embarrassed for these people, just for the sake of I don't know what, money, fame, whatever the heck it is, to just get so low. And let me tell you this. I mean, if I would just speak up, and I'm telling you, as a scientist, as an academician, these people like this is not minimal. There are so many people in academia like this, in scientific research, unfortunately, even medical research. Let me tell you, if I open my mouth, many professors' title would be ripped away. Let me tell you that. And these are famous professors. There are so many things that I've seen that's going on. People can sell their souls for money. Let me tell you that. They will sell their souls for career, for status. I mean, I can write a second PhD on this. So don't get twisted, don't get manipulated. That him wearing John O'Keefe's identical clothing and was absolutely jury manipulation, has nothing to do with anything scientifically whatsoever. And he not using the exact identical speed with a dummy says everything. And I'm not okay. I will probably in the next video will probably about this because I mentioned after the surgeon we'll talk about this Aperture's technician who faked around his CV, and then now this is absolutely insane. I mean, this company should be protested. I don't know. I mean, this company should not do that job, whatever they're doing. Because imagine when they keep doing this type of work for murder cases with that stupidity and nonsensical, unethical, disgusting, and unscientific way. Then imagine the people who would go to jail just because of their testimony. And in fact, I mean, thankfully, Karen Reed has this absolutely super duper scientifically sound lawyers on her side. But imagine when people who are not that lucky, don't have that support, don't even have a little bit mentioned in the news, and forget about support from other people. Imagine those, and then people from Aperture comes in, and then the defense cannot even prove, oh, this is absolute nonsense. Imagine that. And we are only talking about this because Karen Reed's trial is all over the place. But imagine for people who cannot protect themselves, cannot defend themselves, don't have the money, don't have the ability, and also not the publicity to protect themselves and to defend themselves, what this type of Aperture style, not only Aperture company itself, but also Aperture style other companies would do to these victim, or I mean, I would say victim, but also like the people who probably haven't committed any crimes, and they were just maybe framed too. Imagine that. That's why I wanted to come on here, and as a scientist and as an athlete, to tell you that this is absolute BS, like full-blown BS. And I hope that the defense watching this hopefully too, or show it to them, send it to them, because as a scientist I can tell you it's nonsense. And why do I say as an athlete? And I talked about this in the neurosurgeon video. As an athlete, I can tell you, and as someone who with full speed flown on my head, on my face multiple times, but as I was doing mountain bike, I mean, not only mountain biking, racing, but also mountain biking on the street, like on asphalt. And so flying full-blown, full speed, on my forehead and also my face. So I talked everything about that on the neurosurgeon video. But again, can tell you here, when someone get hit with 24 miles per hour with a car, and you just don't like turn and just fall, you will be flying like in the air, turn upside down, inside out. Your entire body will be bruised. Your body will be bruised. So listen, I fell my forehead like here first, my shoulder like this way, right? This way, my entire left side. And guess what? Not only that I had a surgery here, and my entire shoulder and hip and the ribs, whatever on this side, I have severe damage on both on these hands too. Here, this is the surgery here, but here damage on both hands, which was bounded like this. So I had, even with that, I had 2 hands severely damaged that I wasn't not even functioning for months. John O'Keefe, if he was hit by a car with 24 miles per hour, flying in the air, turning inside and upside down, and just flying and just landing, there was absolutely also a lot of signs in the snow which wasn't even there. I mean, that's what I want to say here. Tell me in the comments what your thoughts are. How did you experience this ridiculous, non-scientific, disgusting, unethical, unscientific testimony today? We have to call it out what it is. It's a shame, and as a scientist, I'm embarrassed for these people come on as with a scientist title. I don't care if you're a bioengineer. You are who you are, and you come in with scientific data. No, that doesn't work. That plus, and let me just before I go, I want to say, you cannot be. And he acted as that, and there was a lot of objection from the defense that he suddenly acted like a forensic scientist, a medical examiner. Then he acted like, I don't know, a scene trooper to just the scene was this and we found this one found like that, and he talked about the scene and what had been found there. That's not your job. Your job as a bio engineer is to simulate the collision that you are trying to show to the jury that this is how it happened. But you are talking John O'Keefe's injuries and now how then on whatever has been found, his shoes been found there, and then the plastics were found there. I mean, and he tried to, and that was a lot of objection because he cannot say these opinions on these types of areas that he is not an expert in, and wasn't his job. But he was trying to do that, and Brennan really pushed the limits. I'm glad that it was objected and was also approved. That was sustained those objections because it was accurate that he's not an expert in those, so he should not give his 2 cents about because of this and because of this injuries and because of these shoes and because of that tail lights or whatever. Your job was only to reconstruct the collision, and that's that. Nothing else, nothing further. It was a total game again by Brennan. This was a total game by Brennan to manipulate the jury. Nothing further. I cannot believe it's like a weasel to just manipulate with these ridiculous tactics, but we have to call them out what it is. This was absolute nonsense. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.